before we depart here, do you have any other wise words of wisdom for our viewers here today?
Oh yeah, well, the one way is to help you in, you need to have a good sleep, okay? When you don't have a good sleep, then it would really disrupt the next day's activity. Remember, sleep is your best investment for the next day. If you have not have a good sleep, then work productivity, you feel moody, affecting your eating patterns and even your physical activity. So I hope you would be thinking of sleep as one of your priorities, not just diet and exercise as a way for you to be healthy, but sleep is also important and may help you in stress management.
So I've great points again. So this is going to continue. We're going to, with sleep, me, myself, different people have their issues with sleep, right? And have their solutions to helping them sleep. What solutions can you help give to those who are experiencing sleepless nights? Yeah. What can they do to deal with it, to get past it?
Well, the first is to identify the sleep disruptors. They need to know what are the activities they do, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, and even 6 hours before they go to sleep.
6 hours?
Yeah, even 6 hours. So the 6 hours, let's say you have drunk cold brew, okay, 2 shots of espresso, 6 hours before you go to sleep, it may have an impact in your initiation of your sleep. So you have to cut down the caffeinated drinks 6 hours or 4 hours before you go to sleep. And what are the activities that you do 3 or 2 hours before you go to sleep? If you're still working, okay, if you're still onto social media, the blue light that comes from your smartphones could be one of ways to suppress the melatonin, and the melatonin is helping us to initiate the sleep. So instead of sleeping around 10 p.m., then we may probably delay it, or it's being delayed because of the activities that we're doing, the food, or even the drinks that we have taken would be delayed, let's say 11 or 12, okay, or probably up to 2 or 3 a.m. And the worst case is that people cannot go to sleep. Okay, so they need to establish that pre-sleep routines, and sun exposure is one, or daylight exposure is another thing that they have to consider. Okay, during the pandemic, we are forced to stay at home. Now we don't have that sunlight. Okay, so it may have affected our circadian or body clock. So
will vitamin D3 help with that, or it's best to really get out and get into the sun?
Usually it's a daylight exposure is necessary for them to jumpstart their circadian rhythm. And there's a study that if there is a physical activity like cycling or walking with the sunlight in the morning, it would help in the adjusting in the body circuit or the circadian.
What techniques would you suggest for getting to sleep? Outside of I like the early morning walks. I think that's a great thing I should try to do with my kids. Maybe if I wake up early enough before they go to school, just a 10-minute walk around the village, or late afternoons. Would that still be okay?
Yeah, that would be okay.
Get some late afternoon sunlight, and so it means I have to get home a little earlier from work so I can go on walks with them. But what else do you recommend?
The other is to have a good sleeping and waking schedules. So you need to somehow force yourself to wake up at the same time. Okay, it's like you're moving to the United States. When you go there, right, you're gonna adjust to their schedules, right? Yeah. So it's also the same thing when you're here in the Philippines, that if there's a disruption of your sleep, try to force yourself to wake up at the same time, so it would have a re-jump of your circadian rhythm. And then the naps also matters. Okay? Naps are good, okay? Giving you a boost of performance in the second half of your shift. But if it's too much, let's say the frequency of the naps, it's prolonged more than 50 or 30 minutes, let's say 2 hours, it's already going to affect your sleeping or night sleep. So they have to limit it about 30 minutes.
Max.
Okay? Yeah, max.
For now. Okay.
So they won't affect their sleep
at night. Okay.
Night.
Now, if you're dealing with stress at night, right, you have a lot of things going through your mind. Sometimes you get to sleep and then you wake up at 2 a.m. and all of a sudden you're going to the bathroom, get back to bed, and work starts going through the mind. How do you deal with that?
Well, if you cannot go to sleep, well, you have to stand up and go to another place. You cannot just be lying down and watching the clock, just moving. So it's really gonna make you more anxious, okay? Increase your stress.
True.
So try to get up, try to divert your attention, maybe read a book, okay? Something that's gonna calm you. And if you feel that you're gonna sleep, then you could just lie down. Okay? So that could be a technique, or you could also discover other ways, but not using your smartphones, because the smartphones emit the blue light.
Okay.
So they could suppress the melatonin. So
okay.
especially if the content is really good, you keep on laughing
and keep reading,
keep on reading,
yeah.
then it would affect your sleep. Yeah.
Okay,
it's gonna be a disruption.
So turning on the TV, watching a comedy.
I think that's not
good.
Yeah.
If I have blue light glasses, glasses,
you're really gonna turn on. You're really gonna follow, or you're gonna watch that movie. So it depends on the content.
Okay. So good points. This is something that I believe a lot of people, they don't get to verbalize it, but they're going through these things, and it's important to give them coping techniques. So myself, I told you, I a few weeks ago, I had only a limited sleep within 1 week period, and I had to figure out what would help me to get real sleep, right? I was literally to the point I was getting to bed and panicking 2 hours before bedtime. Am I going to sleep tonight? And once that gets in my mind, I don't sleep, right? So this is something that I've had to learn. I spoke to my therapist, and my therapist told me what to do, and luckily it helped. But if they don't have someone to talk to, and they're just trying to do it on their own, it's difficult. That 1 week that I experienced could be dragged on for a long period of time for other people. I know some people who go to bed at 1, 2 in the morning, get up at 5, 6 in the morning, and then trying to go back to sleep for a nap later on, but they're so tired, they're not able to function, right? So it's important that they're able to speak with people. For me, I always want to go back to, don't be scared to talk to somebody, friend, family, therapist, right? For the longest time, I didn't need it. I'm a guy, I don't need a therapist, right? And why do I have to go to a therapist? Being all macho. But the reality is, they really help. If you find the right one for you, they really help. And I'm really appreciative that I've been able to do that. So anything I can arm myself with, any knowledge I can arm myself with in dealing with stresses that can turn into mental health issues is a big plus. So, all the techniques that you said today, checklist, Pomodoro method, going for walks, talking to people, family, friends, someone that can listen, that's the important thing. When you talk to people, they're going to give advice, a lot of them. There are very few people out there that will just listen, right? And sometimes that's just all you need. Whether you're right or wrong, if you're talking to somebody,
that's right.
They just need to listen, and they can't interject. And my problem is, I always interject. My wife tries to come to me, and I'm like, well, you should do this, you should do that. I'm an idiot. I shouldn't be doing that, right? I'm now that I know better, I'm a little more mindful of those situations. So I try to be that ear for her, but I can't always be. She goes to her doctor or whoever, and it's really important, I think. I really feel, suicide's a big topic, and September for DOH, Suicide Prevention Month, right? And so, this is something that we're discussing, to help people cope with those thoughts, right? And it's important to identify it, like you said, to understand the difference between anxiety and stress, to understand what your stressors are, and learn how to deal with it. Those are great points, and I appreciate your time here today.
Yeah, thank you.
And any more parting words? Every time I say parting words, there's some new topic that comes up that I want to talk about some more. Anything else that you want to discuss? We don't have to end now. Anything else that's important that you want to get out there for people to understand?
Yeah, I think you have to have you follow your routines, your eating patterns, have a good physical activity, know your coping techniques, And if you think that it's already disrupting your daytime or your day work or your family, social activities, then I think that's already a sign that you may already have to see a professional, to get some consultation.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time today, Doc. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll definitely have you on here again. We've only just touched the basics of all the topics that you are very well in depth with and knowledge of. And we want to definitely have you back as our inaugural guest. Maybe one day you'll be in this seat interviewing others for us. So that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks again.
Thanks again. Thank you.
All right. For today's takeaway, here are some top 5 coping techniques to deal with stress. Number 1, use a to-do list. Number 2, use a Pomodoro technique. Number 3, get enough sleep. Number 4, connect with other people. And number 5, exercise daily.